If you're traveling to Tulum, what are the things that you need to pack to have the best vacation possible? I'm kind of breaking it down under these different topics, but there are 9 items I want to talk about in today's video to help you have a good time in Tulum coming up. This first thing to pack is a top question that I get asked, which is, should I be bringing cash? Should I bring pesos to Tulum? Should I use my credit card? Should I exchange money? That's the question. But if you're new here, yo, I'm Christine Lozada with Where in the World is CL. I make travel videos every week to help you get up, get out, and go travel. So if you like to travel, consider subscribing. There are so many Tulum resources that most people miss. They're in the description of this video, so make sure you check it out. There's also some exclusive content in there as well. But the question is, should you bring cash, card, or pesos before you even arrive in Mexico? Here's my opinion. The first thing to ask yourself is, where are you staying in Tulum and what exactly are you doing during your vacation? Because a lot of people will come back and say, I never needed cash. I never needed to exchange into pesos. And I always put a $100 bet on, I bet you stayed on Tulum Beach at a popular hotel and never left Tulum Beach. And they're like, yeah, that's correct. Which in that case, credit card is totally fine. In other words, if you are only staying on the tourist path, there will be lots of people who will take your credit card just fine because you're in the touristed areas. But if you're going to go have some local experiences, if you're going to go eat locally or go on a tour with a local guide, not buying it on Viator or buying it in advance online, then you're going to need some pesos. Here's the way I think about it. I always split my trip with a portion of it in touristy hotel, Tulum Beach zone, and then a portion of it doing the local, fun, adventurous things. Bring a credit card and not just one, bring 2. Why? Pack to Tulum 2 credit cards in case one gets compromised. In other words, I hate Tulum now. In case you have fraudulent activity on one, you have a backup card. And then I also bring with me crisp bills. In other words, I look for reputable banks or reputable counters to exchange money at. If you want the worst exchange rate, do it at the airport. Wait till you get to town, keep an eye out for the different prices that are around, and then find one that looks the most legit. Normally you'll need your passport as well to be able to exchange your dollars into pesos. This will tend to give you the best rate because separately you can use an ATM, use your ATM card to get money out of the bank. But and I talk about this in the scams video, make sure you're reading the fine print and there's no additional fees or weird exchange rates. And I'm not talking about like, oh, it costs $4 to use that ATM. I'm talking about different fees. Make sure you're reading the fine print if you're going through that method. So bringing credit cards, more than just one, your ATM card, for me, I also bring more than just one, and then separately bringing crisp bills. And the reason I bring crisp ones, Mexico's a little bit more lenient versus other countries, but if you're exchanging your dollars, they usually want clean bills. In other words, there's no markings on them, no tears. They're not super old bills, for example. Just make it easier for yourself. So when I go to the bank, I go inside the bank and I ask them to go through their counter and find the newest and the crispest bills. And one thing to consider is ordering pesos from your local bank in the US before you go over to Mexico. This is one, depending on, again, what kind of vacation you're having. Maybe you won't be near an ATM. You will need cash immediately, fill in the blank. And this is something where I recommend with whom you bank with, see what those fees are, because sometimes you'll get a great exchange rate and you'll already have your pesos on hand. I've done this before for both Mexico as well as other countries as well, so something to consider. All right, that covers traveling safe, which if you're getting some value out of this video, cheers that like button. And we're all a community. If you have a helpful tip, add it in the comments below. This is just speaking from my experience. This next section is around thinking about what you need to pack for your excursions. Because one of the top things that people do in Tulum, which you absolutely should, is going to cenotes. And if you're going to cenote, the two things that you should pack are water shoes. In other words, shoes that you can wear in the water that have a really good grip, because sometimes it's really slippery and it's really sad because I've seen it before. People slip going into the cenote and then their vacation's kind of done after that. But the other thing that will help you when you're in the cenotes is having something to not just protect your feet and your person, but protecting your phone. So bringing a waterproof case is another thing you should consider bringing. These next three items are ones that will continue to help you to travel safe in Tulum, which, by the way, items I recommend are not only in the full blog post, but in the Amazon list as well that I've curated and put together for you. These are items that either get good reviews or ones that I've used myself. But traveling safe in Tulum, it's not easy. The first one is if you're carrying a bag. I mean, you can be vibey in Tulum, especially if you're on Tulum Beach, but wearing a cross-body bag so that you can wear it, especially when you're at the restaurants, so that you can stay safe and someone's not grabbing your stuff while you're not looking. That happens a lot. But another item to consider is a Birdie alarm. If you know what a Birdie alarm is, and there's a lot of other similar things out there, is especially if you're in a situation that is compromised, you basically release your Birdie and it will make a sound that will hurt everyone's earballs from 200 miles around. So a Birdie alarm is helpful, especially if you are traveling alone. And another one, especially if you're riding a bicycle in Tulum, is sometimes you'll be riding that bike at night or at sunset. And there are some sections with bike lanes, but not always. And so having a flashlight or a bike light, something that clips, because if you're walking, you can use your iPhone light. I do that. But if you're biking, having a clip-on light is something that can help to keep you safe. And I always bring two, one for the front, one for the back. Make sure you don't get hit, because I bike a lot, but I've never biked around so many drunk drivers before until Tulum. These next ones will help you to get into the spirit of Tulum. And one of them is, a lot of people want to look the part, especially if you're hanging out on Tulum Beach. You want that vibe. All the beach clubs also usually have dress code, by the way. But if you want that Tulum vibe of how you look, unless you want to break the bank and pay normally hundreds of dollars to wear the Tuluminati clothing, I recommend you buy it in advance. So if you want to buy that crochet clothing and all of the Tulumi vibe things, buy it in advance before you get to Tulum. Look the part and don't break the bank. I've put together some items on the Amazon curated list. These next two that are part of the Tulum experience and the spirit of Tulum is getting rained on and getting bitten by bugs more than you can possibly imagine. Obviously, the presence of bugs will be determined by what time of year you are there. So more bugs in the summer, less bugs in the winter, for example. Lots of bugs when you're around the seaweed on Tulum Beach in the summer, less bugs on Tulum Beach when you're there when there's no seaweed in the winter, for example. And so having bug spray, and not, light bug spray, like that heavy stuff. Tulum is a jungle. A lot of people don't understand that. They think Tulum, yes, it's a beautiful beach with a jungle around it, a huge jungle. And because there's so much construction and Tulum is expanding, you're going to be more in the jungle than you would likely expect to be. So being prepared with the 100% DEET bug spray will help you to be comfortable as you get into the Tulum spirit. And I'm always hoping for good weather for you in Tulum. It's kind of a different experience if it's raining during your trip, but being prepared with a rain jacket, and it can be a small one that rolls up and goes into your fanny pack, but just having something, because the weather can turn real fast in Tulum. And I've had times that I'm there that, oh wow, that cloud is really coming in. But sometimes the misadventure becomes an adventure, but you might want something to keep you dry, or in my case, keeping my drone dry, because I don't care how drenched I get. If you're writing these things down, don't worry about it. There's a full pack list. It's free. It's printable. Use it. I use it when I go to Tulum. You can find that in the description below, as well as the Amazon curated list, as well as lots of other helpful YouTube videos and blog posts. There's a blog post that goes with this one as well. We're all a community. If you have a helpful tip, add it in the comments below. These are just the 9 key items that I think are unique to Tulum. Obviously, the whole pack list has tons of other info of helpful things to bring. I'm Christine Lozada. I'll see you in the next adventure. Ciao.